the rain's really coming down for whatever reason. You'd almost think it's hail just by the sound. I did drop off the hard drive yesterday. I don't think they actually do deliveries during weekends usually, right? So I guess we'll have to wait maybe until Monday to see some movement. But we'll just have to wait and see now to see what happens next. And what did I read today? I guess it was kind of funny reading this one at first. Apparently there's a drone light show, and this one here says Pokemon drone light show. Pokemon drone light show. It says, what's more exciting than watching a 230 feet tall Pokemon in the sky battling out over your city? Nothing. Pikachu and Charizard cards are powered up and battled it out over the Dallas, Texas skyline. Pikachu zaps Charizard, but Charizard fights back, breathing fire. So a drone light show with Pokemon characters in it, and you can see it is what they said. It's based on the Pokemon card, I guess, battle game, and you can see it battling out with these drone light shows, if you want to call it that anyways, in terms of battling. According to this, about 250 drones were used. It's kind of interesting too, because I was just reading how obviously the company does this for exposure as well, I would imagine, and they mentioned how they work with people like, let's say, the FAA in the US to get approval to do stuff like this. I would actually wonder in terms of the IP, because I know the Pokemon company is actually really strict at times in terms of how their IPs and trademarks are used. So it makes me wonder if they actually got that part of the business aspect cleared, or if they just did it because it sounded like something fun, so to speak. And then I read this, where it dealt with someone, I guess, crashing a drone while trying to capture some footage for work, from what sounds of it anyways. It just sounded a little, I don't know, awkward for some reason afterwards when I read it. This one here says, drone crashed into Brighton I-360 accident report. A drone crashed into the I-360 while carrying out filming of the tourist attraction. The DJI Inspire 2 suffered extensive damage to its propellers, camera gimbal, and arms during the incident in Brighton. Nobody was injured and the tower was not damaged. An investigation into the incident by Air Accidents Investigation Branch found that the operator, a 51-year-old man, failed to respond to flight commands after a technical issue. The drone was being flown under contract to carry out aerial camera work around the 600 feet tourist attraction in Brighton last year, according to the report. The report does not state the name I-360 as the tourist attraction involved, but it is the only tower of that size in the area. The British Airways I-360 refused to comment. The operator, who had 160 hours of previously flying experience, was positioned on the ground several meters away from the base of the tower and had direct line of sight of the drone. The drone flew several times around and over the top of the tower, approximately 600 feet off the ground. So by the sounds of it anyways, it sounds like the person was pretty experienced. So what happened, huh? It says it had completed a shot directly above the tower when contact with the controller was lost, descending and hitting the top of the tower. Its descent appeared to be under control, but the pilot failed to respond to any flight commands, the report said. So that was part of the confusing thing, where it sounded like there was some kind of technical issue, whether it be with the hardware or some kind of just random lost connection for whatever reason, but at the same time, it kind of reads as it implies it's the pilot's error. It says the flight data recorded a loss of link, but the technical cause of the loss of control of the drone could not be determined. It landed directly on top of the tower within a platform described as a crow's nest, but did not descend to the ground and was recovered manually. And it says there was no indication of power loss or of a propulsion system failure. Up until when contact with the drone operator was lost, the drone was responding normally and there were no indications of any technical issues. Yeah, so again, it sounds like at first you would say, okay, there was a technical issue, but it keeps reading as if no, it's just the pilot's fault by the looks of it. And then towards the end it says the apparent controlled descent and movement of the drone and its failure to engage its return to home feature before striking the tower could not be explained and was only recorded as a loss of link in the flight data. So how would you explain this, huh? My only thought would be maybe, like it says here, it went offline and then afterwards it did come back online, but it kind of lost everything in terms of accurately what position it was in, for example, and in terms of input, the person could have looked at it and says, oh no, I need to come back or forward, and they held the controller. Now from there, it could be the inputs, for some reason they were lagging, and it wasn't until maybe, I don't know, a couple of seconds later where it gets registered. So you can imagine there, if the person's going backwards, forwards, up, or whatever, trying to move it, it's all delayed and it all comes out at once afterwards when it kind of registers. That's the one thing I can really think of. But again, it's just kind of interesting with this article where it sounds like it's a technical error, where at the same time it sounds like they're trying to say it's the operator's fault. Who would you think is in the error here? The operator, or something just happened with the drone hardware-wise? And you guys actually asked, well, what am I going to use for hard drive and so forth? While I'm waiting to see what happens to that other one, I'll have to use my current one because, as mentioned, I use different hard drives to archive different types of work, like drone footage, for example. Or I also have stuff like a smaller hard drive for every final output of, like, just say a daily video into a smaller hard drive. So I'll have to use those to store the actual files that I captured, like just say today. And then when I get a different one, I can retransfer it afterwards. Each one of those big drives are about 8 terabytes or more as well. So you can just imagine how much data there is after all these years. Oh, that poor bird got bullied. Hey, some sunlight. Alright, see you guys later.